Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're here again to unpack some fascinating topics, hopefully bringing you insights you didn't even know you were looking for.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm sure you, like me, probably feel pretty well versed in the big stories of Middle-earth. The Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit. Maybe you've even tackled the Silmarillion.
Yeah, those are the pillars, aren't they? The ones everyone knows.
Exactly. We feel like we've got a good handle on Tolkien's world. But what if I told you there's this much lesser-known text, almost a secret one, you could say.
Oh.
And it introduced some of Middle-earth's strangest creatures, things you just don't find in the main books.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are we talking about?
Today, we're doing a deep dive into The Adventures of Tom Bombadil. It's a collection of poems published back in 1962, so quite a while after the main trilogy finished.
Right, I know the one. And what's really interesting about it, isn't it, is that canonically, they're supposed to be poems written by hobbits.
Exactly. Like Bilbo or Samwise Gamgee put these verses together.
That framing is key.
So our mission today, really, is to explore the weird and wonderful beings in these poems. We've got everything from, like, charming talking animals.
There's some genuinely unsettling monsters.
Yeah. And we want to figure out what they tell us about the hidden corners, the sort of overlooked lore of Middle-earth. I'm personally really excited to dig into these obscure bits.
And I'm here to help us, sift through it. Because it's tricky. Tolkien himself called some of these poems nonsense.
Right. That's the puzzle.
But there's actually good reason to think many of these creatures might have been real within Middle-earth's history. It challenges what we think of as strictly canon.
Okay, let's get into it then. The Adventures of Tom Bombadil. It's poems, not a novel.
That's right, a collection.
And despite the title, only the first couple are actually about Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, the rest cover all sorts of things. You've got poems about a friendly troll, an elven princess. I think there's one about a dwarf who's obsessed with gold.
Standard.
Pretty much. But the crucial thing, as you said, is it's meant to be from a hobbit's perspective. And it introduces creatures you literally find nowhere else.
Which brings us straight back to that paradox. Tolkien calls some of it nonsense.
But he did in letters sometimes.
So,
yeah.
How do we square that? How can poems, maybe just whimsical Hobbit rhymes, possibly give us real clues about Middle-earth's actual history?
Well, that's the fun part, isn't it? You have to think about how Hobbit culture works, how stories work, even if they embellish or get things slightly wrong.
The core of the story might come from somewhere real.
Exactly. An old legend, a half-remembered encounter, something seen out of the corner of their eye on a journey. Nonsense can often have a kernel of truth, especially in folklore. We just need to look for the clues Tolkien leaves.
Right, separating the Hobbit flair from potential reality. Okay, I like that approach. So let's start with some of the animals, the mischievous ones.
Yeah.
Badgerfolk and otter-folk.
Yes. Straight away, you think talking animals.
My mind immediately went to Narnia, So what's the initial take? Just hobbits having fun or something more?
Well, the easy assumption is, yeah, Hobbit invention. Talking animals, animals with human traits. That's classic folklore stuff. Easy to dismiss as just fanciful.
And how are they described in the poems?
They're definitely anthropomorphic. They talk. They seem to have social structures, like marriage is mentioned. And they're described as bigger and stronger than normal badgers and otters. The badger folk even dragged Tom Bombadil into their tunnels at one point.
Okay, so they're not just small, furry things having a chat. They have some physical presence.
Definitely. They're mischievous, seems like, but generally harmless in the poem.
So is that it? Just charming Hobbit folklore characters? Or is there more?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. There's a tiny detail, easily missed, in the Fellowship of the Ring itself.
In the main book, what is it?
Remember when the hobbits are traveling early on and they see a fox?
Vaguely, yeah.
Tolkien gives us the fox's internal monologue. The fox actually thinks to itself. It sees the hobbits sleeping outdoors and thinks something like, hobbits. Well, what's next? I have heard of strange doings, but seldom heard of hobbits sleeping out. 3 of them, something queer's happening.
Wait, seriously? The fox is thinking those words. It's not just, like, narrative description.
Nope. It's presented as the fox's actual thoughts.
Wow. Okay, that changes things. That single fox. It means sentient, thinking animals are a thing in Middle-earth.
It strongly suggests it, doesn't it? Suddenly, the badger folk and otter folk don't seem so out of place. They could absolutely fit within the established rules of the world.
That's amazing. So these poems might be recording something real, just maybe through a Hobbit lens. Makes you wonder what else is out there in the woods and rivers.
Exactly. It opens up the possibility of a whole hidden animal kingdom with its own intelligences.
Okay, mine's slightly blown by the fox. What else do these poems throw at us? The Hummerhorn. That doesn't sound like any animal I know.
No, it doesn't. Hummerhorns pop up in a poem called Errantry, and they're mentioned alongside actual insects, dragonflies, honeybees.
Okay.
And also Dumbledores, which is an old word for bumblebee.
Right, so it's in the company of real flying things.
Yeah.
But Hummerhorn itself, totally made up by Tolkien.
Entirely his invention, yeah. And the poems don't really describe what it looks like, so its actual nature is a bit of a mystery based purely on the text.
So we're left guessing.
Pretty much. Although other related media have tried to fill in the gaps. The Lord of the Rings, the trading card game, for example, showed them as giant hornets with big mandibles.
Ouch.
And the old Middle-earth role-playing game described them as huge black and gray wasps that could gore things with sharp, sort of mosquito-like needles.
Yikes. Giant, goring wasps. Lovely. So what's the likelihood they were real in Middle-earth?
Given they're listed right alongside real insects in the poem, I'd say it's actually pretty probable. It suggests Hummerhorns were just another, maybe more dangerous, type of large insect native to Middle-earth.
It's fascinating how one weird name in a poem can hint at a whole unseen ecosystem. It just shows the depth, doesn't it?
It really does. Every little detail can be a doorway.
But, okay, we've done the mischievous animals, the mystery insects. Now we need to kind of take a breath and shift gears, because not all these poems are whimsical.
No, definitely not. Some get quite dark.
Let's talk about the Mewlips. Just the name sounds creepy. You said this poem's particularly disturbing.
Oh, absolutely. The tone shift is dramatic. It's basically a little horror story. The Mewlips are these vaguely humanoid creatures.
Humanoid.
Yeah, but sort of shadowy and lurking, and their whole deal is, well, they hunt travelers. They eat them.
Eat them.
Yes, and they stuff the bones into sacks afterwards and collect any gold the travelers had. It's grim stuff.
Wow. Okay. Does Tolkien describe them much physically?
Not directly, but he describes their environment in chilling detail. They live in a moldy valley where the trees are gray. There are carrion crows everywhere. Their homes are described as damp, dimly lit cellars decorated with grinning gargoyles.
Ugh. Sounds nightmarish.
Yeah.
So where are these delightful creatures supposed to live?
The poem places them beyond the Murloc Mountains and the Spider Shadows, which most people interpret as, Hobbit names for the Misty Mountains.
And Mirkwood?
Exactly. So that would put the Mewlips Valley somewhere in Rovanian, that big, wild area east of the Misty Mountains, maybe near the borders of Mirkwood, or further east towards Rune.
Okay, so in the wilderness. Now, given how some poems are nonsense, could the Mewlips just be like the Hobbit boogeyman, a story to scare kids away from wandering too far?
That's definitely a possibility you have to consider. They sound like something from a cautionary tale, and the article we looked at initially leans that way, suggesting maybe there's Hobbit folklore about orcs or other known monsters.
There's more, isn't there?
There is, and this is another one of those moments where something from outside the poem sheds light. There's an adventure in the One Ring role-playing game called The Marsh Bell, and in that adventure you encounter creatures called marsh dwellers. The text explicitly says these are a version of the Mewlips from the old rhymes.
No way, really?
Yes, and it describes them not as folklore, but as an ancient breed of shadow creatures, deadly and terrible. It says their name is used in rhymes to scare children, but the real creatures still haunt the long marshes near the Shire.
That is chilling. So the role-playing game connects the nursery rhyme directly to actual ancient evil creatures still present in the world.
Pretty much seals the deal, doesn't it? It makes the Mewlips feel much less like Hobbit fancy and much more like a genuine ancient horror lurking in the shadows.
It really makes you reconsider the scale of threats in Middle-earth. It's not just Sauron's armies. There are these older, perhaps more localized, but deeply terrifying things out there.
Things forgotten by most, but no less real.
Right. Okay, one last creature from these poems. Fastitocalon? The turtlefish.
Ah, yes, Fastitocalon, from the poem the same name.
What's the story here? This one sounds enormous.
Colossal, yeah. So big, the poem says, it was oft mistaken for an island, just this massive creature floating in the sea, and apparently, by the time the poem was written, only one was left.
An island-sized turtlefish. Where did Tolkien get that idea?
He actually borrowed the name, Fastitocalon, from an Old English poem called The Whale. So the concept of a giant sea creature mistaken for land is ancient.
And what makes it so dangerous? Does it attack ships?
Not exactly. It's more insidious than that. The poem calls it the most dangerous of the many monsters in the sea, but its danger comes from deception.
How so?
Sailors, or anyone really, might land on its back thinking it's an island, setting up camp maybe? Then Fastitocalon realizes they're there,
Uh-oh.
and it deliberately dives deep underwater, turning upside down as it goes, and the poem adds this chilling detail. It does it with a smile, just malevolently drowning everyone on its back.
That's terrifying. Just pure malice.
It is. And what's fascinating is how it points to the great unknown of the seas around Middle-earth. We know so little about them compared to the land.
Yeah, the stories are almost all land-based.
Exactly. And you think about other Tolkien legends, like in the Silmarillion, how the island of Tol Eressëa was physically moved across the sea by the Valar.
Right. Islands aren't always static in this world.
So the idea of a living island, or something mistaken for one, doesn't feel entirely out of the realm of possibility, does it? Even if it seems unlikely at first glance.
So its existence.
Yeah,
We can't completely rule it out.
I wouldn't. Given the ancient history, the vast unexplored oceans, who knows what primordial beings might lurk down there? Fastitocalon could be a legend rooted in something real, however ancient.
It really makes you wonder about the deeps. What other colossal, ancient things might be swimming in those dark waters?
It just adds another layer of mystery and scale to the world.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it's really clear, isn't it? The Adventures of Tom Bombadil isn't just some obscure footnote, even though it's sometimes called nonsense.
It's actually a surprisingly rich source. It gives us these unique glimpses into Middle-earth's creatures, its folklore, maybe even its hidden history.
It shows that even poems framed as Hobbit creations can offer really fascinating, genuine insights into just how vast and strange Tolkien's world actually is.
Absolutely. It broadens our understanding of the fauna, the potential threats, the sheer depth of the legendarium.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. If these Hobbit poems, sometimes dismissed, can reveal creatures like Mewlips and hint at things like Fastitocalon, what other corners of Middle-earth history are hiding? Maybe in other texts we don't always think of as core canon.
It's a great question. It definitely encourages a closer look, a more curious reading of everything Tolkien wrote.
Yeah. So we really encourage you, maybe check out some lesser-known Tolkien works, or even reread the ones you know well, but keep an eye out for those weird little details, those offhand mentions.
You never know what you might uncover.
Exactly. There's always more to discover in Middle-earth. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.